Now, thinking about that, given the current economic climate, when should these young graduates begin their job search? I'm thinking specifically in terms of like whether they should do the private sector versus the federal government or starting their own business. I mean, when should those ideas be in your head?
Honestly, I would advise students to start utilizing their the office of um, a job placement office at the school immediately from first semester. From the first semester they arrive, they can take advantage of internships, clerkships, find out what opportunities are available even while they're still in school. And once you really do not want to wait until you get out of law school to start your job search. You really want to start at the very latest. You probably want to start your second year because there are a lot of opportunities between that summer between your second and third year. I know for me, I served as a clerk at the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission my second summer of law school, and that was an invaluable experience. We were adjudicating actual cases of alleged discrimination in the federal sector, and it was, I really, it was a really wonderful experience for a young law student such as myself. And so, I mean, my advice would be really to start researching opportunities from, the first, second semester, you arrive in law school, and, really take advantage of the counselors, advisors, and really, professors, and talk to them. Get their impressions of what the legal market is like, both in the private sector as well as the federal sector. I know in this particular area in Washington D.C., the federal sector provides a huge market for attorneys. Government agencies are always looking to hire bright young attorneys in their general counsel's office. So that's always a nice avenue to pursue. And if ambitious young students also would like to go the law firm route, the big law firm route, that's also something that they can look into and find out how to go about sort of placing themselves in the right position to take advantage of those opportunities. It's really about researching, finding out what's out there, and taking advantage of the opportunities that are available. Because I find that a lot of students sort of assume that once you go to law school that you're just going to come out and the world will be your oyster. And at one point it was, but you really have to be more aggressive now. You have to be a go-getter and really pursue those opportunities. And it's in no way, sort of discouraging young folks from, pursuing a legal career. Is not at all. But I want to make sure that young people are prepared to really seek out those opportunities and to, reach out for them and, inquire, use the resources available at their schools, and make sure that, you have, you take advantage of the opportunities that are available to you upon graduation.
So tell us about your first position when you graduated. How did you find out about it, and what was required?
Well, I clerked at a small firm in Silver Spring upon graduation, and I eventually became an associate there. And it was I actually wanted. Well, if I would have had my choice, I probably would have stayed at the EEOC. But from what I understood, they had a hiring freeze at the time, and federal sector can be a little bit tricky with respect to those things. But I served as a clerk at a small firm, and like I said, in Silver Spring. And upon passing the bar, I slowly started taking cases and assuming more responsibility, and eventually became an associate there.
So how did you find out about that position?
It was actually a individual that I was studying for the bar with. She was friends with the principal at the firm, and he actually needed a law clerk, and So she put me in touch with him, and I, we
Had a good fit.
exactly.
So, and I hope that, just from that conversation, that our listeners and other young people understand the importance of also the networking and building friendships early on. As you had mentioned, not just to wait until the end point of your school career, because that's true not just for the legal field. It's really important to know various people, to try to develop those relationships, to actually land something of your interest that you're interested in. And one other thing I wanted to mention with respect to the EEOC, that would have been great for you to stay there, because they have a tremendous backlog. You're always hearing about the fact that they have all these cases, and it takes X number of days for them to actually look into people's complaints and so forth. So I know that, that has been an issue for some time with various groups, including some groups that I have belonged to in the past, going up on the Hill testifying in support of increased funding for that particular agency, so that our folks aren't waiting around to try to get their cases heard or resolved. You are listening to Real Talk with your host, Dr. Valencia Campbell. Our sponsor, the Prince George's County Drug Policy Coalition, aims to promote drug policies and laws that embrace the public health nature of drug abuse and provide a more humane approach to address the chronic problem of drug abuse. We recently awarded scholarships to both high school and college students through a grant from Councilman Patterson's office. And again, we want to congratulate all of our 17 recipients for that tremendous accomplishment. Now we are back with my guest, Mr. Ferdinand Ebebuchi, discussing opportunities for young lawyers. Ferdinand, tell us about some of the advantages and disadvantages of seeking employment in a law firm versus working in the government.
Well, law firm environment is it's different. You may be required to, will be required to, work longer hours. It involves much more client contact, which is fine for certain individuals who feel more comfortable with that client interaction. Government generally, involves minimal client contact, and it's usually set hours, and it's much more conducive to individuals with families and I guess other obligations. Private law firms are, they tend to, they're a bit more demanding. Of course, they can also be more lucrative as well. So, but I know, in this past, with the economy the way it is, the law firm route sort of took the prestige diminished a bit somewhat because of, the hit in the economy, but it shouldn't in any way affect young law students' ambitions or desires if they want to pursue that route. It's very prestigious to, particularly with the big law firms in the city. They're very reputable and prestigious. And, if individuals, young law students choose to pursue those avenues, they absolutely should. Once again, the government sector, public sector also may provide more opportunities. You just have to, like I said, research. Do your research. Really find out what's out there. And I know more colleagues of mine in the public sector, work for the government, federal government, DC government, and even the Maryland state government. And when I say government, I don't want you to just, I don't mean to imply just the federal government. there are opportunities within the Maryland State's Attorney's Office, Prince George's County Office of Law. Those are public sector as well. And, if you're an ambitious young prosecutor who wants to get into court and, clean up the streets or whatnot, or you want to, you would like to work for the public defender's office. Those are also very lofty, noble positions. And I encourage young attorneys to pursue those. Those are, very much in need.
Now, I know just from some of the research I've done with my book dealing with minority women, what they say about their career success, and looking at this legal field, some of the data tended to show that that for attorneys who were in private practice, their average salary was, higher than, for example, government, and then business was somewhere in between. I think back then, when I was doing that research, the private practice average was somewhere around like $85,000 as opposed to maybe $45,000 in the government, and then business around $60,000. But let's talk just one moment about two things that you could quickly comment on: how well represented minority women and men are in the law firms, and then if you want to suggest what might be some of the issues that are currently confronting the legal profession.
I think diversity remains a problem, not just the perception, but also the reality of diversity. I think more women and minority attorneys are definitely needed. I think particularly in the private sector. I think a lot of the private firms tend to, I'll just leave it at that. There definitely needs to be more diversity, and I think a lot of the problem comes from the fact that young. Well, I don't even know if I have time to go into that. I think more young people need to see themselves in those positions, and as attorneys, legal professionals. I think also there needs to be a greater push for diversity in law schools. I think that push has sort of waned in the last several years. I don't know why, but I definitely think that minority representation is not where it should be. There's definitely, there needs to be a better crop of, a larger crop of minority lawyers in order, to meet the needs of folks, particularly in this area.
Great. I know we will have to come back because there are a couple of other things I wanted you to address, particularly the guidelines for using social media, the Facebook, the Twitter, for attorneys as well as others, and some of the other things that you might have some information to share about the do's and don'ts for young graduates. Some of that came out in our discussion. But I so appreciate you being here. You've been listening to Real Talk with your host, Dr. Valencia Campbell. I want to thank you again and thank our listening audience for tuning in today. See you next Saturday on Real Talk.
You've been listening to Real Talk with your host, Dr. Valencia Campbell. For more information about Real Talk, contact Dr. Valencia Campbell at 301-341-2247 or reach them online at valenciacampbell2003 at yahoo.com.